There is something quietly powerful about the way you move through the world. You enjoy being alone, yet you don't feel empty when the room is silent. You don't feel abandoned when your phone stays quiet. And you don't feel like something is missing just because no one else is there. Still, somewhere along the way, you may have wondered if this makes you strange, maybe even wrong. Society often treats solitude as a problem to fix, a phase to escape, or a sign that something is lacking. But psychology tells a very different story about you. You are not avoiding people because you are incapable of connection. You are choosing space because you have learned how to exist within yourself without panic. While many people fill every moment with noise to escape their own thoughts, you are able to sit with yours. That alone places you in a small minority of people who have developed emotional stability from the inside out. You don't confuse loneliness with being alone. You understand, perhaps without ever putting it into words, but loneliness is about disconnection, not absence. And because you are connected to yourself, silence doesn't threaten you, it settles you. What others fear, you inhabit calmly. This isn't withdrawal, it's awareness. And psychology has a name for what you've built. It's inner independence. Part 1. You don't crave noise because your mind is already full. You don't reach for noise the way others do. You don't feel the urge to fill every quiet moment with voices, scrolling, or constant activity. And psychology would say, this isn't because you lack interest in the world. It's because your inner world is already active. Many people rely on external stimulation to feel alive. Silence makes them uncomfortable because it forces them to face their own thoughts without distraction. But for you, quiet doesn't feel empty. It feels spacious. Your mind naturally reflects, connects ideas, revisits memories, and processes emotions without needing constant input. You don't get bored easily because you're mentally engaged even when nothing is happening on the outside. This is a sign of strong internal cognition. You think deeply, often subconsciously. You notice patterns, meanings, and subtle emotional shifts. Your mind doesn't shut down when the world goes quiet. It opens up. That's why solitude feels productive rather than draining. It gives your thoughts room to breathe. Psychology links this trait to introspective intelligence. You don't need someone else to entertain you because your mind already provides stimulation through reflection, imagination, and self-awareness. This doesn't mean you're detached from reality. It means you process reality internally before reacting outwardly. That's also why shallow interaction can feel exhausting. Small talk doesn't nourish you because it doesn't match the depth at which your mind naturally operates. You're not antisocial, you're internally rich, and because of that, you don't chase noise. You choose quiet, not because you lack something, but because you already have something. Most people never fully develop a mind that feels like a place you can live in. Part 2. You experience connection internally before seeking it externally. You don't rush to be seen, heard, or validated. When something moves you, a thought, a realization, an emotional shift, you often sit with it first. You let it settle inside before deciding whether it needs to be shared. Psychology recognizes this as internalized connection, and it's one of the clearest signs of emotional depth. Many people only feel real when their experiences are mirrored back to them by others. They need immediate reactions, responses, or approval to confirm that what they feel matters. You're different. You feel meaning internally before anyone else knows it exists. A moment can be profound to you, even if it happens entirely in silence. This is why you don't feel lonely when you're alone. Your sense of connection doesn't disappear just because no one is physically present. You are already in dialogue with your values, your memories, your emotions, your inner compass. That inner relationship gives you stability, it anchors you. Psychologically, this reflects a strong sense of self-reference. You don't outsource your worth or clarity to the external world. You process emotions inwardly, then decide what deserves expression. That's not emotional distance, it's emotional discernment. Because of this, superficial interactions can feel hollow. You're not chasing constant contact, you're looking for resonance. When you do connect with others, it's intentional. You're present because you choose to be, not because you need to be filled. And that's the quiet truth about you. You don't feel disconnected when alone. because connection starts inside you. Part 3. You have a high capacity for emotional self-regulation. You don't collapse when you're left alone with your thoughts. You don't panic when emotions surface without distraction. While many people avoid solitude because it amplifies what they haven't dealt with, you can stay present with what arises inside you, even when it's uncomfortable. Psychology calls this emotional self-regulation. It's the ability to experience feelings without immediately needing to escape them or hand them off to someone else. You can feel sadness, uncertainty, or restlessness without letting it consume you. You don't suppress emotions, but you also don't let them control your behavior. This doesn't mean you never struggle. It means you've learned that emotions move when you allow them space. Instead of running toward noise, you give yourself time. Instead of seeking instant reassurance, you ground yourself internally. That's a level of emotional maturity many people don't reach until much later in life, if they ever do. You've likely noticed that being alone actually helps you reset. Solitude gives you room to process experiences, regulate your nervous system, and return to balance. That's why isolation doesn't destabilize you the way it does others. You don't depend on constant emotional input to stay steady. Psychologically, this points to inner security. You trust yourself to handle what you feel. You don't need someone else to stabilize your emotions because you've built that capacity within. And that's why being alone doesn't feel dangerous to you. It feels like coming back to center. Part 4. You choose solitude, not withdrawal. There is an important distinction psychology makes that most people never learn. Being alone is not the same as being disconnected. You understand this intuitively. When you step back from people, it isn't because you've given up on connection, it's because you are listening to your internal signals. Withdrawal comes from fear, avoidance, or emotional overload. Solitude, on the other hand, comes from choice, and you choose it deliberately. You recognize when your energy is depleted, when your mind needs quiet, when your emotions need space to settle. Instead of forcing yourself to stay engaged out of obligation, you step away with awareness. Psychologically, this reflects autonomy. You are guided by internal regulation rather than external pressure. You don't disappear to punish others or protect yourself from imagined threats. You withdraw only enough to restore balance. That's why your solitude doesn't feel heavy. It feels intentional. It has a beginning and an end. You know when to return, and you know when to stay with yourself a little longer. This rhythm keeps you grounded. People sometimes misinterpret this as detachment, but the truth is, you don't avoid people, you avoid depletion. You're not closing doors, you're simply choosing when to open them. And because your solitude is chosen, not forced, it strengthens you rather than isolating you. Part 5. You are selective with energy, not afraid of people. You don't avoid people because you're uncomfortable around them. You avoid environments that drain you. There's a difference, and psychology is very clear about it. You are highly aware of how interactions affect your internal state, and you've learned to protect that space. You pick up on tone, mood, and emotional undercurrents quickly. Crowded rooms, constant conversation, and shallow exchanges demand more from you than they give back. It's not because you're weak, it's because you're perceptive. Your nervous system processes more information, more deep. This sensitivity often gets mislabeled as introversion, social anxiety, or distance. But what's really happening is energy management. You know that not every interaction deserves equal access to your attention, so you choose carefully. Psychology associates this with emotional intelligence. You read situations before you engage. You sense when a conversation will nourish you and when it will cost you, and you don't feel obligated to stay where your energy is slowly being drained. That's also why your presence feels meaningful when you do show up. You're not half there, you're not performing, you're fully engaged because you've protected your capacity to be present. You're not afraid of people, you're respectful of your own limits. And that self-respect is what allows you to connect deeply without losing yourself. Part 6. You've learned that peace is not found in crowds. At some point, you noticed something most people avoid admitting. You can be surrounded by others and still feel deeply alone, and you can be by yourself and feel completely at ease. That realization changed how you relate to the world. Psychology understands this as emotional congruence. You are sensitive to whether your inner state matches your environment. When it doesn't, your body and mind feel the dissonance. That's why crowds don't automatically comfort you. Presence without alignment feels empty. You've likely experienced moments where being with the wrong people drained you more than any solitude ever could. Forced laughter, polite conversation, the pressure to perform a version of yourself that doesn't quite fit. Over time, you learn that peace doesn't come from proximity, it comes from authenticity. This is why you don't chase social validation. You don't measure fulfillment by how many people are around you. You measure it by how grounded you feel. When you are alone, you are free from distortion. You don't have to adjust your emotional frequency to match the room. Psychologically, this reflects clarity of boundaries and self-alignment. You know when something feels right and when it doesn't, and you trust that signal. That trust is why solitude feels safe. It's not emptiness you're choosing, it's conclusion. If you prefer being alone but don't feel lonely, psychology doesn't see someone detached from life. It sees someone deeply anchored in it. You have learned how to sit with yourself without needing to escape. You have built an inner relationship that doesn't collapse when the outside world goes quiet. While many people fear silence because it reflects what they haven't faced, you experience it as clarity, as rest, as hope. This doesn't mean you don't need others. It means you don't need them to feel whole. Connection for you is a choice, not a lifeline. And because of that, when you do open yourself to others, it comes from fullness, not hunger. In a culture that equates constant interaction with worth, your way of being is often misunderstood. But it is not isolation. It is inner independence. It is emotional maturity. It is knowing that your presence with yourself is not something to fix, but something to honor. You are not behind. You are not missing out. You are not broken. You are simply someone who has learned that peace does not require an audience. And that is a rare and powerful form of strength.